Welcome back. Cuba's new foreign investment law goes into effect this weekend. It offers tax-free incentives for companies moving into a special development zone. It's currently under construction near the island's new deep-water container port at Mariel.Michael Voss joins us live from Havana. Michael, how much interest is there?
It's not an easy proposition. The US trade embargo is still in effect, which means that companies can't export to the US. And in fact, they could be fined if they have business operations in the United States. But that didn't deter some 200 foreign companies from participating in an industrial trade fair in Havana this week. And many of them also attended a special seminar organized by the government giving details of the new investment law and outlining which business sectors they're most hoping to attract. Afterwards, I spoke to one of the businessmen attending the event.
Sun Lianyi manufactures sugarcane harvesters made in China specifically for the Cuban market. The company, Xiamen ITG Group, is a state-owned concern listed on the Shanghai Stock Exchange and ranked as one of China's top 500 enterprises.
Many Cuba specialist engineers, they went to China to join the design. So we designed this machine according to Cuba standard.
At some point in the future, do you think these will be manufactured in Cuba?
I think I have a big possibility to manufacture in Cuba. I think the first step to assemble here in Cuba.
Do you think the new foreign investment law does provide added incentives to move here?
Sure, of course. So we Chinese enterprises, now they're doing study the foreign investment law, the new law for Cuba. And this attracts a lot of Chinese entrepreneurs.
How big a risk do you think it is to invest in Cuba right now?
You know, doing anything will have a risk, of course, but we hope the risk will be small. Yeah. So here in Cuba, I think I'm doing business with Cuba for 10 years. For 10 years. 10 years ago, I started to do business with Cuba. So I know a lot of things about Cuba. So my personal view, myself, is optimistic.
Part of the new investment law is that you still have to hire Cuban labor directly from the state. Do you see this as a potential problem?
I'm not sure, but I don't think it's a big problem. You see, with China, we opened our door nearly 40 years ago. You see, so when I grow up, I see China, how China developed.
And you think Cuba's on that same route now?
Partly, I think.
Partly only?
Yeah, partly. I think I'm quite certain that the Cuba people will be more creative.
That was Chinese businessman Sun Lianyi. He's interested in investing in Cuba, but he's unlikely to be amongst the first wave. Michelle?
Yeah, I can imagine that that's a concern for many. So, Michael, what are other potential investors saying about this new law? Do you think we can expect a flood of foreign companies to start investing in Cuba now?
I don't think, Michelle, there is going to be a flood of foreign companies. Some companies will come in and invest. We have President Putin of Russia coming here next month and China's President Xi Jinping. Both are likely to announce some of their companies coming here. But generally, most of the businessmen I've talked to and trade attaches at the embassies here are taking a wait-and-see approach. They want to know whether there really is a change in business climate in Cuba and whether they really will be able to make a profit.
Okay, so Michael, given this reluctance, what sort of incentives are the Cubans offering potential investors in this new foreign investment law to entice them?
Two things really, less bureaucracy and less taxes. The tax on profits will be halved from 30 to 50%. A tax on labor will be abolished altogether. And if you move into the new Special Development Zone at Mariel, you're completely tax exempt for 8 years. There will also be no taxes on importing raw materials, they say, and on export, and also a much easier process to apply and get approval to invest here. So its tax incentives, but we still want to know just how business-friendly Cuba will be.
Right, a lot of unanswered questions. Thank you so much, Michael Voss, live for us in Havana.